Hey, you. Subscribe. You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
Hello, and welcome to Fanboy Versus. I am not JD Church. It's me, Chris McFeely. Chris the second, Chris the first. Chris Triplett is sitting over there, and Nicole is here as well.
Just the three of us. Chris the third.
No, but that would just get confusing. I am.
Okay. I'm in a Chris sandwich. Yay!
Okay.
That sounds yummy.
That wasn't 60 seconds before we got filthy. I don't.
I might take a drink.
I didn't mean it that way.
You never do. I swear, it's like JD's not here, and you're just off the hook already. The boss is gone, and and this is what results right away out of the gate.
It's gonna be one of those episodes.
It's gonna be one of those shows, yeah. Well, we're all still coming down from Toy Fair and all of the news we got yesterday. I have to admit that I really only tend to follow the Transformers news that comes out of Toy Fair. So even though there is comic action figure related news that came out, I have no idea what it is.
I can care nothing about the comic figures at this point. I don't care.
I believe the principal piece of news I took away was that Hasbro were reducing. Did I hear that Marvel action figures were coming back down to the 3 3/4 inch scale? We're only going to have 5 points of articulation now. I believe I heard that.
Something like that, yeah. Like the Iron Man 3 toys are pathetic looking, is what I heard.
Yes. I saw a few of the new Iron Man. I don't know if they were Iron Man 3 toys, but I saw some of the new Iron Man action figures just the other day myself. New 6-inch things with a build-a-figure Ironmonger, and I was like, these look like dump. And why does this wave contain only half of the parts for Ironmonger? Unless somebody was here and bought them all already, but that's highly unlikely based on the look.
The Ironmonger love.
It's probably that guy that's got the name #1 Ironmonger fan on Twitter. It's that guy. It's whoever did that.
Yeah.
Well, Ironmonger seems like a more logical choice for a Build-A-Figure than some of the other Build-A-Figures that we heard of that are coming out off of yesterday's news. We were Build-A-Figures of Puck and... Who was the other one?
Hit Monkey.
Hitmonkey.
Yeah. What the hell?
What the hell? It's not funny. It's not funny, Marvel. It was never funny. It wasn't good. Just because it was in Deadpool doesn't mean the internet's gonna buy all your toys. Also Hitmonkey.
Well, I'm missing building a Galactus and a Sentinel now. This is just sad now.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think Build-A-Figures have basically sucked since the Onslaught wave of Marvel Legends, because that's whenever they shrank, and they weren't gigantic figures anymore, but what can you do? Timey's just reminded us in the chat as well, because we've got the chat going live. We'll try to keep up with the chat this week, if we can.
I'm trying to log on to the chat. I haven't logged on yet, so...
We have more listeners than usual, but that's just overspill from the live coverage we've been doing of Toy Fair today. So hello, everybody. Thanks for sticking around after the thing you actually wanted to listen to is finished. Yes, Timey's reminded us that they've announced a Batman 1960s TV series action figures, which is
now
awesome.
That is awesome to me. I want an Adam West figure so bad.
I can't imagine I'll bother buying any of those, but I still think they're cool. So
yeah, I think it's cool. I don't plan on getting them, but I think they're cool.
It's a cool.
I will get my favorite Batman. I
don't think. No, I don't actually think I own a single Batman action figure.
Wow.
I have a Mr. Freeze. I have a Psycho Pirate. I have an Adam Strange. But I don't have a Batman.
You've got everybody else.
Whoa. We need to change this, McFeely.
I don't have room. I'm actually probably going to get rid of some of these very soon. I'll save that for the end of the show whenever we're talking about other things. Before
You're waiting for the Beware the Batman action figure to go.
Oh
on
yeah,
the-
no, I am. I'm just, I'm jump. No, to be fair, but yeah, I will be checking that show out impartially. I have no prejudgments against that show. It's like everyone on the internet always hates the next Batman cartoon, even when there is no internet. People hated Batman the series before Batman the Animated Series came out. Where do you think we would be now if that attitude had continued? Well, let's see. What do we have in the way of comic news this week? We actually have real comic book news. This is the crazy thing. I don't believe there's any movie news or anything I saw at all this week. Oh no, I tell a lie. I've just remembered a bit of movie news, which I'll lead off with because it's the equivalent of me pointing and laughing, frankly. Which is that the word is out that the first script treatment now for Justice League, the movie, has been scrapped.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, are we surprised though? Are we really surprised?
I'm not.
So no longer are we waiting to see if Superman does well and we might get a Justice League movie, or they just say, nah, we're just, nah.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't know how that lines up with that news from last time that they were waiting. I mean, I would still be very surprised if that film I'd be surprised if it happened, but I would be more surprised if it happened by its projected 2015 release date. We'll see how that goes.
There's no way.
Mark Miller was taking the extracting the Michael from the idea of the film this week as well, talking about how do you do Aquaman on film and.
You have a battle at sea. That's how you do it.
No, but he makes a fairly good point, which is that how do you do Aquaman talking underwater on film?
That's a writer has to figure that out, or a director has to figure it out.
You take your cues from the Little Mermaid. You take your cues from the Little Mermaid. That's why.
But then how does he talk to the other Justice Leaguers?
He opens his mouth and he says, "Hey, Superman, you need to go save that woman. She's falling off of a boat."
So what, does everybody just have like some kind of merman sound effect applied to their voices?
Yeah.
That'll do.
Do dolphin talk.
That probably works for Super Friends.
You know what you do? They say that Aquaman's telepathic, and then you do that special effect where you hear somebody's like, "I'm talking in your mind right now," and then the dolphin goes swimming and saves somebody. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Well, yeah, if he's talking to sea life, sure, but what if he has to talk to all the other Justice Leaguers or any other Atlanteans?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that happened. And then, it's not generally a good week all round for DC because we've had a bunch of more cancellation announcements. Now, we'd heard the word last week that Savage Hawkman was going. We knew that. That was mentioned at a panel at a convention somewhere, but the official word has also been released this week that it's gone. As are Fury of Firestorm. I'm sorry, JD's not here this week because I would have liked to have reaction to that one. Yeah,
you would have seen a grown man cry, I think.
Fury of Firestorm's gone. Deathstroke is gone. So with Deathstroke and Savage Hawkman gone, it does seem like they are trying to rub out any association with Rob Liefeld whatsoever that exists. And then the more surprising ones are Sword of Sorcery, Team 7, and the Ravagers. Because those have barely been around for any length of time. Now, I think Ravagers is up to 10-ish maybe this month, I think.
Were those second wave books, like books come in to replace?
Ravagers was a second wave one. Sword of Sorcery and Team 7 are third wave. They are only on issue 5 this month.
Wow.
Yeah, I've actually been reading it. It's not bad. I didn't think it was that bad.
Which one?
I mean, it definitely appeals a Sword of Sorcery. It definitely appeals to more of the fantasy types, and I don't know if DC does really fantasy that well, but I've enjoyed it. It's on my top 10, but I still enjoyed it.
Oh God, if DC doesn't do fantasy well, then what hope does that He-Man ongoing series have?
Hey, okay,
true.
Right. I took a look through the 6th issue of the He-Man miniseries, right? And
I gotta read them. I haven't read them yet.
I did not understand a dang thing that was going on in it, beyond the fact that I knew the whole idea of it was that Skeletor had cast a spell using the power of Grayskull or the power of the Sorceress or something.
Yeah, he captures Castle Grayskull, I think, and then he changes history or something, makes it so they're not the Masters of the Universe. They don't know.
Yeah.
That they're the
Taylor's
Masters.
I want to make a comparison here, but I can't. I've forgotten what the comparison I wanted to make is. I mean, they all get mind wiped and they have to relearn themselves. So I'm looking at this sixth issue, not having paid attention to any of the rest of this series. This is probably spoilers for that comic. So if the two guys that read that are listening, you won't that one.
I read the first issue and I laughed my way through it.
I think I'm one of those guys that's going to eventually read that. So.
Well, I'll so in the first couple pages, anyway, there's this little orange fanged head on a pedestal. Okay, it's like a decapitated head, but it's talking to Skeletor, and it's like an ally of Skeletor's. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. Yeah, I have a passing knowledge. I can recognize 70% of He-Man characters on sight. I think I'd like to think I could.
All you have to do is like take what you're looking at and add "or" to the end of it. Guys on a stick or okay, that's who that guy is.
on a stick or.
On a stick or. There you go.
Wait, on a stick or. That sounds like a Russian figure skater. On a stick or. Sorry.
It'd be like stilt or pogo
Yeah.
or something. So I flip through the issue and I don't see any reference to this thing's name. And it seems like at the end of the thing that it goes, rah, Skeletor throws it out a window and it lands in the moat outside the castle and it's never mentioned again. And then it's at the end of the thing after He-Man's beaten Skeletor. Spoilers, He-Man beats Skeletor.
No, I cannot read the series whatsoever now. You just ruined everything.
And then the head is like, oh, Skeletor, you should have listened to me. Rah, I'm Skeletor. I mean, I'm a head. And I'm like, who was the head? I don't.
You had to read issue 5.
Did you?
Had to read issue 5.
I don't know. I mean, it was just weird. It seemed like they actively didn't use the head's name, like it was supposed to be a mystery, you know? But I would say mysteries normally can be figured out from looking at them, and I had no idea. So I was actually left, well, not curious, but more like puzzled at how terrible it was, to go and look it up on the on Tinternet. And it seems like everyone figures it's Orko.
Huh.
It seems like the DC Masters of the Universe comic had Orko turn evil and ally with Skeletor and allow Skeletor to capture Castle Grayskull and kill the sorceress. I believe her decapitated bloody corpse is in this issue, you know, for kids.
God.
And yeah, so that is the worst thing ever. Like that is the most fundamental, most fundamentally 90s grim dark misunderstanding of updating a property I've ever friggin' seen.
Okay, now you just make it more interested. Now I just want to read it. So you won, okay? Now I want to read it.
You won, DC. Yeah. Well, Sprite in the chat is just saying that apparently She-Ra went evil too. I honestly didn't know She-Ra was in the series. I thought the idea was that she was coming in the ongoing, where it was going to turn out that she was. Well, Barricade saying she's brainwashed in the chat. So I figured the idea was that She-Ra, like this was at a point in time for He-Man before She-Ra existed, and that the ongoing was going to be about them meeting. Finding.
She-Ra was in the second.
Oh, she is in the. Oh, okay. My bad then. I figured they were going to bring her into the ongoing and do the whole. She's a minion of Hordak and serves him, and they were going to bring her in that way. Not that she had already existed.
Oh wait,
well,
not She-Ra. I'm thinking of not She-Ra, but the other one. What's her name? Teela. Yeah, I'm thinking Teela. Teela was in the second issue.
I understand Teela's depiction in this comic has been especially atrocious.
Yeah. like real dumb Valley Girl stuff. If I'm led to understand things properly. I mean, to be this sounds. I don't think it's quite as bad, but I think it's approaching as bad as those Thundercats issues by Wildstorm, where Wily Kit and Wily Cat were Mumra's sex slaves, and Chitara was chained up and raped repeatedly by the mutants. That happened. That was a comic. That was. Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. That actually happened. Yeah.
I'd like to apologize for like derailing you and going in this direction just by mentioning that DC's not going to do He-Man right because they can't do sword and sorcery. I didn't mean for it to go this way.
Yeah, and now you've learned things you never wanted to know. So anyway, back to those DC cancellations. Those are all happening. And so the creators are finding new homes. Sort of, might be interested to know then. Sort of sorcery writer Christy Marks, who was one of the creators of Gem and the Holograms, if you didn't know. She's moving on to Birds of Prey. That should be interesting. What else is happening? Deathstroke writer, Team 7 and Deathstroke writer Justin Jordan is going to be taking over Superboy. Michael Allen Nelson, who was working on Ravagers, will be going over to Supergirl. And Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti will be taking over Batwing. I think it's
still around. I thought they canceled Batwing.
No, they're giving Batwing a fair shake, and it's like Dial H.
Oh, really?
Someone asked in the chat there a little while ago if Dial H was still running, and Dial H is actually still running. Yes, thank God. It's one of the it's one of the last books, as a friend of mine said this week. It's one of the last books DC is putting out where it really feels like the creators are driving the book and not some editorial mandate. Like that's what Marvel's got going on right now, is that the creators feel like they're driving the books, and DC everything feels editorially controlled, except for a few books like Morrison's Action and Snyder's Batman and Dial H. But with all this word of a crossover with the Flash coming up, who knows what's going to happen to Dial H? So we'll wait to see. I just think it's interesting that whenever you see how much time was put into the culling crossover between the Legion and the Titans to set up the Ravagers, and now it's gone before it even lasts a year.
That was a horrible crossover, by the way.
I understand to be, yes.
That comic, Teen Titans, just in general, is horrible. I feel so bad for that comic.
And Savage Hawkman is cancelled just as the character has joined the Justice League and will be getting promotion there. So who knows how that works. Same for Firestorm, I believe. But yeah, I think Firestorm's in the Justice League. So it's hard to understand. About as hard to understand. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, we could look forward to new announcements of new comics because they still got to keep 52, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Are we honestly going to get 6 more?
Please don't.
Because they have announced 2. Here they are. Here's at least 2 that are coming. It's a pair of similarly themed books. I don't know if they're going to be tying in with one another, but they're one is these 2 books. One of these books is about the 1%, and the other is about the 99%. That's actually how they are selling these books.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
So the interesting thing is the creators. The 1% book is The Green Team. Now, The Green Team were actually an old Jack Kirby concept from back in, I think, in the 70s. And it was about child trillionaires who spent their money on awesome stuff. that was the hook.
So it's like it's like Richie Rich, are you saying?
But there's more than one of them, basically.
My God, I've never heard of that. I love it when I hear something I've never heard of in comics. That's amazing.
I believe it only lasted like an issue or 2. It was around the time of the DC Comics implosion from the 70s when tons of titles were cancelled, and it wasn't cancelled as part of that. I think it was cancelled before it, but the remaining issues got burned off in the same manner with all the other stuff from the stuff that died in the DC Comics implosion. But the hook for this series is that these are young people who have all this money and they actually want to do something good with it for the people. It's not about them spending the money on awesome adventures for themselves. But here's the real kicker on this, okay? The creative team, it's being written by Art Baltazar and Franco, the Tiny Titans and Superman Family Adventures guy.
Wow. You're buying that book, aren't you?
They're not drawing it. Ig Guara is drawing it, but I would be lying if I said I was not interested in with that.
I think you should get it.
Similarly, the 99% book is called The Movement, and it's a bit more what it says on the tin. I don't know if this comparison has directly been used, but it's what I've been calling it. It basically seems to be anonymous with superpowers, which does not sound like anything I could possibly want to read less. Except it's being written by Gail Simone.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
God.
Yes,
Oh, God.
with art by Freddie Williams. Yeah. So,
what?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing that's happening. These 2 books are happening. These are coming in May. Yeah.
Maybe I need check that out or something.
It's just so bizarre that you kind of want to.
Yeah.
That's the DC announcements for this week. Now, Marvel has got, I think they really only had this one announcement this week, and quite frankly, I'm bouncing up and down in my chair over this announcement, which is their confirmation of what will be coming in their free comic book day issue for this year, which is going to be the first part, the zero part, the opening salvo, however you want to describe it, of their next small event. You know, Age of Ultron is their first event for this year, which is 10 issues, only lasting 3 months, only 2 or 3 one-shot tie-ins in each month. Quite small scale. So the second event is called Infinity, and it is a cosmic event that it seems like it's going to involve Nova, it's going to involve Guardians of the Galaxy, Jason Aaron's Thanos Rising miniseries that we talked about last week is going to factor into it as well, because it is a Thanos event. Now, Triplet, you and I read New Avengers this week.
Yes.
And I think we maybe saw the beginnings of this in that.
Maybe.
Oh, the New Avengers are you talking about?
Yes, in New Avengers. Did you read it?
Yeah,
as well?
okay.
Oh, you did? Well,
I did.
Well,
I have it.
Yes. Because, you know, a certain purple-faced fellow appears in one panel of New Avengers.
Yes, he does.
And I think that
Who
could
would
be
that be?
I don't know.
Wait,
Is
let me
he
guess.
in a
Purple
film
Hulk.
next?
Purple Hulk. As people thought it was at the end of the Avengers movie.
Well, it still doesn't beat the one guy I had who thought it was Hellboy, so...
Oh, God.
Purple Hulk.
That poor person. Hellboy's going to join the Avengers. Oh, God, I can't wait to Avengers 2. What's Hellboy doing being the bad guy? I don't understand. He was a good guy.
But the real allure of this is the creative team, because it's being written by Jonathan Hickman and being drawn by Jim Chung. Jim Chung of Young Avengers, if you recall.
Nice.
If you don't, Jim Chung. So that is the universal reaction to this announcement across the internet. Everywhere I read was basically everybody going, "Damn it! I have to buy that." That's a
Damn,
creative-
What in all honesty, are you surprised with this third issue? That's where they're going with, because in the second issue you kind of picked it up doing with the Gauntlet.
Oh yeah, I mean, I figured that was just going to be this opening plot of New Avengers, and that would be that.
Yeah.
But it really feels like the seeds for whatever's going to come in this Infinity storyline may have been buried right here, right now. You know, and maybe this whole collision of multiple universes thing, because we've already seen elements of that over in Hickman's Avengers. Maybe that will have something to do with Infinity. But given that the line is that it's a cosmic Nova, Thanos Rising, Guardians of the Galaxy thing, maybe not. Will Iron Man be involved? Iron Man's in space at the minute. He's supposed to be appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm looking forward to finding out, I have to say. I don't know we don't know much about it. We just know that's happening. I don't think we have an issue count or anything for this one yet, if we're getting another high-density, quick-fire one like Age of Ultron or what's going on. But I like this format. These small-scale events packed into a tight space with minimal crossover. It's like
a big space epic, too. We haven't really had that in a while.
I'm not a huge fan of total raw cosmic stuff. The cosmic books are never ones I've followed. I won't put one finger next to Jeff Loeb's Nova. I won't be in the same room as Jeff Loeb's Nova. But this is getting checked out. Yes. I think that is all the news we have for this week, so I guess it's time to move on to some recommendations for the week. I'm going to mix it up. Nicole, you start us off this week.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm mixing it up. I'm in control.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you guys wanted me to mention two, so I'm going to mention the first one that came out this week. It's a Green Arrow with the new writer Jeff Lemire. It's number 17. Now, the story is great. I do enjoy the story because Oliver is on his own. He's pretty much lost everything, so he's kind of like the phoenix having to rise from the ashes. And so he's trying to make a new life for himself. I actually dropped this series, I think, at number 6. So I honestly don't know how
I think everybody dropped that series.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just you. I think everybody did.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how he got to this point. But basically, he's coming into encountered a new nemesis. It's a setup of another archer who's stolen his equipment. So it's his equipment against him. So, so by the end of the story, you actually have three. You have three, and the last line of the story is, "You were never supposed to leave the island." So,
Kit, we were never supposed to leave the island.
Lost. Yeah. But this third person has his eyes X'd out. He doesn't have any eyes, and so the story, I'm pretty sure
he's a blind archer.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's cool.
Yeah.
Quote marks.
Yes. And so the thing that got to me is the art. I do not care for this art. It really distracted me from this story.
Is it
the
too,
lines are very
cartoony, or what's the problem with it?
No, it's just the lines are very faint. It just looks like a bunch of color. Bunch of color with hardly any lines. And if there is like lines and shading, it's really dark and it's hard to, because there's like there's some boxes that is this a second archer, you know, he's showing that he's getting ready to shoot one of the arrows. And a lot of it's blacked out. I had a hard time really concentrating on what he's doing. I think if I wanted to continue on with the story, they need to get a different art style for it. I just don't care for the art. It really distracted me a lot. The art was Andrea Sorrentino. Sorrentino.
No, I know that artist has done I, Vampire up until now. I haven't. I've always heard I, Vampire with some pretty positive critical reception, but I've never really heard anything about the art. So
yeah, maybe it's just me, but I found the art distracting. But,
I'm kind of surprised DC's not making a big effort on Green Arrow. Like, you know, the Arrow TV show is doing well from what I've heard. So it looks like they would want to, you know, get some of those people to read a comic, you know. And
well, to be honest, putting Jeff Lemire on Green Arrow is that, I think, because he's critically very well received. Frankenstein, Animal Man, you know. So certainly, I've had a few people who dropped Green Arrow added back on with this issue because of Jeff Lemire, but I don't think I've actually read anything by Jeff Lemire.
I think I've read some of Animal like crossover stuff, but that's mostly been it.
Yeah, this second archer, he's got some kind of weird mask, and they've got it shaded out most of the time. So I'd like to see what's actually behind there. You know? But yeah, it's so far the story's good. It's a good reboot because, like I said, Oliver is down on his luck. He has nothing. So, like I said, I don't know how he got here. So, if you guys have been reading Green Arrow, please inform me. So, like I said, I think you need to up because the reason why I picked it up is because there was a new writer. So, yeah, if you like I said, the story good, art. So, right down the line. The other new one that came out this week was The Fearless Defenders. So you have Valkyrie, you know, from Asgard. She is teaming up with Misty Knight. I never have heard of Misty Knight.
I don't know who Misty Knight is either. Who is Misty Knight?
You guys know Misty Knight. Misty Knight is one of the Heroes for Hire supporting characters. One of Iron Fist and Luke Cage's supporting characters from back in the day, who ran the last incarnation of the Heroes for Hire. She's a tough, no nonsense. Well, she was a cop. I'm not sure if she still is a cop. She might be a PI now, and she has a robot arm.
I didn't read that Heroes for Hire. Was she in Defenders? Was she like the last Defenders book? Was she maybe in an issue of that? I can't remember.
She might have been. Iron Fist.
Maybe I saw it there.
She and Iron Fist used to get it on.
She is best friend of Jean Grey.
Over 5 minutes in the 80s.
Yeah, but I wasn't really familiar with her. But you see how they come together because there is some artifacts that are being stolen and shipping off to the highest bidder. And to come to find out what of the artifacts, it actually looks like an Asgardian mummy. So, and then to come to find out there's this other artifact that raises the dead. So it's zombies. I'm liking it. Zombies. Okay. And these two have to fight these dead, pretty much Asgardian warriors. So, but they also have a third member of their team who is the archaeologist that has found this. And let's just say she has a big thing for Valkyrie. Such a big thing, they made a whole splash page of, like a half of a splash page of her kissing her. So we've got a team up of 3 women who are trying to fight the Asgardian mummies and dead. So it's a pretty good setup for first issue. It's definitely intrigued me and the art's beautiful in it. Beautiful art, especially the very first page. You can see Valkyrie standing in rain, and all of a sudden the rain turns into blood. It's kind of cool.
Who's writing that book? Who's the person?
Cullen Bunn, and art by Will Slinney. So, yeah.
Cullen Bunn wrote the Fear Itself Fearless miniseries from last year that was about Valkyrie. Remember, gathering up the hammers following Fear Itself. So he's following on what he was doing with Valkyrie there, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a female heroic story. So if you're looking for a good female hero story, here you go. It's got three of them teaming up to go against the Asgardian dead. So there you go. And I just want to mention one other. Okay, no problem.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Yeah,
okay.
no,
The last thing I want to mention is.
Do it.
Okay. Do it.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it now.
I want to mention something because there's one thing I never would have thought I'd see in a comic book in My Little Pony. Yes, people are talking about My Little Pony because something happened in here, and I want anyone else who's read this to tell me, do you think there's that the queen actually killed someone? Okay, so you have the queen.
I want the scene set for me here now.
I'm going to.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Queen Crystallis, she's a changeling. She's the changeling queen, and she's captured the 3 fillies, the 3 little ones, and she's using them as bait to get the other ponies into her grasp. But why she has the 3 little ones, they're taking over another land full of happiness, and they're making it into despair. But at one point, there's this happy little fluffy bunny that comes in with a little Valentine card for her, and she throws him up against the wall, and you just see this black splatter. It's just like in front of the 3 little fillies. Now I was just like, wait, did she really just kill a cute little bunny in front of the 3 little fillies? I was just like,
was the bunny sentient? Does the bunny talk?
The bunny did not talk, but
okay, it doesn't count.
It came with it comes with a little Valentine card, and I was just like, wait! I never thought I would see something like this in My Little Ponies. But in this issue, they also have chupacabras and vampire jackalopes. So, I'm not kidding. There was so much fun and adventure in this little issue, more than probably even like Green Arrow right now. There was so much going on in these 26 pages. Like I said, please let me know if you think that the queen killed someone.
But is that what these things do? Now, I have zero pony knowledge. I just know that character appeared in the 2nd season finale. That's the height of what I know. She's the queen of the changelings, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
now, what do they do? I mean, does anything they do involve black goo?
What the changelings do is they actually suck out like the essence of other creatures, and then they could take on that form, and the other creature that they've taken the form of has become zombified. So there is a way that they can get back their soul, basically.
Okay.
But it's kind of demented if you think about it. But,
in a kid-safe sort of way.
In a safe form, yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to have to see if I can get a look at that and decide.
Yeah, it's the
Oh, did we lose Nicole there?
Did we lose her?
I think maybe we lost Nicole there. Well, I guess we'll Triplet. Do you want to carry on then? If we've lost Nicole,
I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. I'll hand it over to you then. In that case.
Well.
Go for time. Cover. Quick. No, it can't all go wrong on my watch.
It cannot. I demand that it does not go wrong on your watch. Well, I'll just, I got 2 quick books I'll just hit up.
Sorry, I'm back.
There we go.
Are you back?
And I've got to apologize. I'm looking at it now. It is a kitten. It is not a bunny. So,
Oh, God, a kitten is worse.
That's actually
not a kid, a kitchen. And it has a little Valentine that says, "Love conquers all." And I think she throws it against the wall. So,
God. You know, when you said rabbit, I was like thinking, oh, she's just going to eat it. She's just hungry or something. It's not sentient or something. But when you say it's a kitten, I mean, that's like somebody's pet.
But like I said, I'm thinking that she threw it against the wall because all you see is this big blackness and it says thump and just splatter. So,
obviously she threw it into the dresser and it spilled the licorice she had sitting
there. You go. Like I said, it's a fun comic, very well written. I mean, even if you're not a big cartoon fan, I think this comic will keep you entertained. So, sorry about the disconnect there. On to you, Triplet.
All right.
Okay.
As I was going to say, this week I'm just, of course, am I not going to talk about a Spider-Man comic? I mean, really? I mean, kind of have to. It's my thing, you know.
It's a requirement.
I mean, somebody needs to be taking a drink out there somewhere. I'm just.
Is it this one?
Huh?
Is it this one?
He's showing you the comic.
It's on the video. Oh,
I can't see. Your video's frozen on my end.
I'll just restart mine just
Sorry.
in case.
Is
it Superior Spider-Man? Yes. There we go.
It is Superior Spider-Man #3, and it's the continued story that we've been going through with Otto as Spider-Man. I mean, nothing's really changed, but it continues to be good. And this issue, I think, is kind of got a standout to it because in this issue, it's basically Otto's having to go after the Vulture, and what's interesting, the interesting take that they're taking with this issue, though, is about the relationship between Otto and the Vulture. Which, I don't know if we've ever really kind of gotten into the depths of, do supervillains have friends? I mean, do they just work together just to, kill Spider-Man or what? But, in this issue, they kind of play off like, okay, everybody else that's on the Sinister Six is basically a bunch of idiots, but, the Vulture and Dr. Octopus, they're kind of smarter. They can talk to each other. You even get like a scene that plays out where it's like a memory that Ghost Peter Parker gets access to at one point in the issue, where you see them basically as close as I could see is like Doc Ock having a friend back when he was a supervillain. And then the present it plays up because you think, maybe he's gonna take him out. He's gonna use all this Superior Spider-Man stuff, these plans he's got, and take the Vulture down. But no, he actually is kind of fond of this friendship that they might have had, and he's wanting to give him like the option to just walk away, quit causing trouble. I mean, he offers to give him money. He's basically got some money in a bank account somewhere, which I think is interesting. I think that's an interesting way to take it. And then you get the more the layers of Otto's psyche kind of gets pulled back a little bit more because we get to see a little bit more of what he is. Yes, he had friendships. We got this thing with him having basically an abusive father. So you're getting more in this issue, I think, than we've probably gotten in the first 2 issues. I mean, did you get rated? Did you get McFeely?
I did, yeah. I think we definitely got a better feel this issue for what we can expect going forward as far as the Peter and Ock screen sharing goes. This is really not like Not like last issue. Remember we were saying last issue it was like an awful lot of Peter just offering a running commentary on everything Ock was doing, which is really not how this one went this time. You got Peter discovering that he can actually go into Ock's head on his own and see his memories, so he's actually off doing his own thing for a chunk of this. And I mean, basically the actual fight with the Vulture then at the end of the comic is all Ock. You know, you don't have Peter talking in his ear the whole time about how he can do this or can't do that. This is the balance I expected to get out of the comic as well. The Vulture
without spoiling,
is... I'm sorry,
you know, yeah, without spoiling the end of it, yeah, like they even, you know, Peter's not there to hold him back. So, you know, you see what you know, Dr. Octopus Spider-Man can do to somebody at the end of the issue, and holy cow, you know?
It's kind of like a mini spotlight on Doc Ock.
Yeah.
It's nice to see these memories of his as well, because I can't remember if we said this on the show or not before, but it's like... Otto Octavius has really, as much as like Venom is often tried to be presented as like the anti-Spider-Man, and more recent portrayals of Venom, like in the Superior Spider-Man cartoon, the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, and the Ultimate Comics have tried to turn Eddie Brock into the anti-Peter as a result. You know, someone who had all the same problems as Peter, lost the parents, didn't have anybody to raise him, like my Uncle Ben did, was a photographer but wasn't very good at it, you know, and all that sort of stuff. They've tried to make him into the anti-Peter to make Venom being the anti-Spidey a more rounded thing and to give Eddie a personality. But Otto Octavius has really always been the anti-Peter Parker. The young, lonely nerd who retreated into science, but who had people who loved him and taught him the right lessons, while Ock never did. So that to me is what has always made the prospect of Superior Spider-Man most interesting. You know, if there was one character who could literally do the most damage while simultaneously learn the most and share the most similar feelings and experiences that Peter does, it's Ock. You know.
Yeah, it's a fitting. It's of all the villains that he's going to have. If they're going to have a villain do all this, it's definitely Ock was the one that had to be.
And Ock's kind of badass in this one as well. I mean, I love the fact that it looks like for a while it's going to turn into a nasty thing where he is just going to take the Vulture and he's just going to beat him with his hands, and it's going to go in a nasty anti-hero, excessive villainy kind of way like it did with Boomerang. But I don't know. Science triumph at the end as well, you know, and the Vulture still gets smashed to near-death's door, but it's a kind of an awesome science triumph all the same. It's not one you really wind up rooting for, but you kind of go, ooh, it's kind of awesome whenever he does it.
What do you guys think of Spidey's new look for his eyes?
Oh, that's awesome too. That's the sort of science stuff Ock is
That's
really
what I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot.
You know, the interesting thing as well, actually, this is kind of news, but it's not really. We do have the solicits for, I think it's the May issues of, hang on, this is February, March, yeah, the May issues of Spidey. And although both issues 9 and 10 are still the Superior Spider-Man, the solicit for number 9 does say Superior No More. And the cover is of, like, the top of Spidey's head, but it's all brain, and the brain spells out the Superior Spider-Man, spells out the logo, and it's like Peter Parker and Doc Ock fighting in his brain.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, this could literally be over as soon as issue 9. And that is not surprising at all, really, when you see the fact that there is forward... This is not really... Even as we read the comics, it's really not being treated as a status quo, you know? With Carly here. There is forward motion of this mystery and his relationship with other people in each issue, and it really feels like with each passing issue it feels less and less like something that's going to stick around. So I think we're just going to get a memorable 3 months or so, 3 or 4 months out of the concept. But I continue to really enjoy the book.
It's a lot quicker than I thought. I mean, I thought it'd be around longer than that, but still, that's interesting.
And my original prediction was 2 years, you know, and then the first issue came out. And then I didn't know what to think. Tricky's just raised, and Tricky in the chat has just raised the point reading the letters page, and it's like, they're all nothing but bitching. And the hilarious thing is, they are all letters still from before number 1 came out, and everybody goes, oh, defiling history, oh, slap in the face, oh, disrespectful, how could you kill this, how could you kill that, oh.
How was that, McFeely?
I don't know. I think I missed it out for a second there. Sorry, did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Tricky's just noted here. They know how badly this has been received. No, these are letters from before this existed. Superior Spider-Man was the top-selling comic for the month it came out. It was
People
the
are
number.
buying the book. Yeah,
People are buying the book. All the actual reviews of the comic are positive. All of the actual website reviews of the thing are positive. It was the number one selling comic for January.
Hey, people, quit complaining. Just enjoy the ride. That's all I can say. And as for a ride, quick hit, just to talk about New Avengers number 3. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's moving on, isn't it? I don't want to go in depth on the issue or anything, but lots of cool things. We find out, Professor X was that missing piece, to the Illuminati. We didn't know what happened to his Infinity Gem. We find out. We know who's got it now, and we move forward with that. But the interesting thing is this issue is kind of about they get the gems. They're ready to initiate their plan. They think that the Infinity Gauntlet, that's going to fix it. That's going to solve the problem. It's going to stop the apocalypse. It's going to stop everything from happening. And you even get a moment in the issue where you think, oh yeah, maybe it is, and this is going to stop it when the gauntlet is formed. And that's where we get what you were talking about earlier about, is this maybe the first kind of nod in the direction of that next sort of Marvel event, because we see some galactic people take notice that the gauntlet's been reformed. And
just the normal guys you expect, it's the Watcher, it's Galactus, it's Thanos.
Yeah. But yeah, it's...
The thing is with this one, I'll just mention this real quick. This was the big surprise to me because I judged this series on the first comic. It is getting better with each one.
Yeah.
It so is.
Like we were talking about before the show, Avengers was good, but New Avengers is really moving forward. It's it's going in a direction big time. Avengers is just kind of one-shot type stories, is what it seems like.
Well, I mean, it's Avengers took an odd structure for its first 6 issues. It did a 3-part story, and then it's doing these three character spotlights for the subsequent 3 issues, which is fine, and I'm certainly enjoying them. But I mean, okay, we'll see what New Avengers does for issues 4, 5, and 6 of its opening arc. But yowza, frankly, as far as we've gone for kicking things off.
Yeah, but New Avengers, it's great. Do I want to spoil what happens?
I don't know if we do want to spoil that. Safe to say that we did call it, and it's been seeded even as far back as the first issue of Hickman's Avengers, just furthering the interplay between the book again. The one character who seems like he doesn't belong in this circle of characters is not part of the circle of characters anymore by the time we get to the end of this issue.
What are you saying?
I don't know. I'll tell you what I am saying. You know what? It's such a tiny thing, and it's the sort of thing that only somebody like me would be annoyed by. But they colored the gems wrong.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
I didn't pay
that is
attention.
not right at all.
Now, one thing I was
let me go to that page.
Now, one thing I was going to say, though, is about the gems, without saying exactly what happens with the gauntlet.
Yeah.
What's going on with that one thing with that one gem? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Is that going to come back? Is that something that I need to be expecting to come back and hit us hard or something in the comic?
That one thing with that one thing?
Yeah.
I don't want to
thing-
spoil.
Like,
The thing is, if you're reading this comic, you know what you're saying.
yeah.
Okay, there's a thing that happens with the Infinity Gauntlet, and there's a thing that happens with one of the gems, and I don't want to say any more. Because when it happens, it's kind of oh crap, that just happened.
Yeah.
But I wonder where they're going with that.
I mean, there's no point saying it. It's the time gem, so
Yeah.
that's right there,
That's
It's
it.
That may have flitted away across the time streams, That is a seed. That is a seed, I think.
Yeah. But yeah,
but
cool. Great book. I'm really enjoying it. It's not what I was expecting. It really isn't. It's
not much of a spoiler as well to just note who replaces Professor X on the team and who covers the Mind Gem for them. Yeah, because that's the Mind Gem, and it's blue. It's not the red gem, like the caption boxes say on the boxes where they're naming the gems, because it's blue right there where it's supposed to be, guys.
I didn't even notice that.
It is the Beast, which is an insanely logical decision to me. That's a great choice for a character.
I thought so.
I like how they did it too. He basically at the he gets like a letter from the lawyers after Charles died, his will and everything, and he opens the letter, and then into the letter all it says is remember. And then there's like this memory that Charles Xavier locked in his head of how to find the gem and everything about it and everything that when I die I'm going to send this to you, and then boom, there you're now part of the Illuminati.
No pressure. No pressure.
Don't screw it up.
But it's like Beast again. He feels like somebody who belongs in this circle of characters, as somebody who's been like a defender and an Avenger. No, wait, has he been a defender? I feel like he's been.
I'm sure everybody's been a defender at this.
Probably. Well, he's been an Avenger and an X-Man. He's one of the original team. He's one of the ones that was closest to Professor X. He's on the right side of the law right now, of course. He has recently taken to acting on his own impulses in ways to try and improve the world with the whole time travel thing over an all new X-Men. And I really like the choice of character. I really like it. Yeah, of course, that puts them at how many members up does that make them now? That puts them up at 2 members up. So this number's got to get whittled down, and it starts at the end of this one.
Yeah, good stuff.
Very good stuff. Okay, I guess that is my turn then. So I'll just nod towards 2 things briefly here. Iron Man number 6 was out this week. Now, we've talked previously about this book, about how it really feels like somebody just knocked on the door and said, Kieran, we need the first book to be about extremists, and then after that you can do what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
And that feels like maybe it was an accurate way of looking at things, because this issue feels a lot more like what I expected out of the book while Kieran Gillen was on it. I mean, I didn't expect him to be in space or anything when I heard Kieran Gillen was writing Iron Man. We've known Iron Man would be going into space for a while now, because he's just sort of off to Soul Search following the whole Phoenix thing, and he's supposed to tie in with the Guardians of the Galaxy coming up. But this issue is not a done-in-one, and it's just got that. It's got a much more biting, humorous edge to it that I've come to expect from Kieran Gillen and things like Journey into Mystery. That it just feels a lot more like what I was expecting from the book, and it's definitely reaffirmed for me that I'll be sticking with the book for a while if this is more what I can expect out of it. There are a good couple of laughs in here, one particularly big one as well. I'm not going to spoil, but I still do just wish we could get a different artist though. Because, yikes. The grins. Dear God, the grins.
Grins.
Grins. Oh, so many grins. The teeth everywhere. Everybody with these hideous, terrifying... Triplet, you know what I'm talking about.
I think Triplet has left the building.
Triplet, I thought it had gone quiet there. Maybe he muted his microphone to do something.
I see an empty chair.
Oh, sorry, he just ran for a second there. He's like, yeah, he's not here. Well, he would agree with me if he was. I feel confident putting words in his mouth.
As long as that's all you're putting in his mouth, right? Oh, wait. I didn't mean to go there.
You say you didn't.
I didn't mean to go there. My apologies, people.
Just throw a veil over it. It's all right. We'll just move on.
So what else do you have for us, McFeely?
Well, I don't know what else I've got here. I've got the Avengers Assemble Annual, which is one I was really looking forward to this week, actually, because it is A, written by Christos Gage, who is not writing anything regularly for Marvel at the moment, and B, is about the Vision, which is good as well, because the Vision, as we know, as we may not know, frankly, because he has not been in the spotlight at all. He came back. He was repaired there at the end of the end of 2011? Yeah, seems about right. At the beginning of the like Norman Osborn arc in Avengers. And unsurprisingly, Brian Bendis brought him back and proceeded to do nothing with him.
Oh, man.
That's how Brian Bendis works.
So he brought him back,
so
but is he just like a background character then?
He was just really just sort of there. You know, he really was just there. He seemed to be there to set up an unpleasant scene at the start of Avengers versus X-Men. And I don't mean unpleasant bad. I mean unpleasant like, ooh, that's rough. But it was a good scene, you know, between Scarlet Witch and the Vision. And the Vision, and this one is really, a lot of it is about the Vision addressing what the sort of thoughts that a lot of people have been having. It's like, well, they just left his parts in a warehouse or whatever, you know, and Vision asking these questions about himself and about the way the Avengers have treated him and his relationship to the young Vision who was part of the Young Avengers and all the rest of it. Set alongside a story about an old Iron Man villain you've probably never heard of called Centurion, who it's about Centurion works for that evil corporation Roxxon, and they're going to let him go, so he turns against them because his job is his identity, and the Vision sees parallels in him with himself because being an Avenger is really all the Vision has after losing his family and everything. So it's really about the Vision seeing a kindred spirit in this guy and trying to move on and better himself as well. And yeah, it's a good issue. It's basically, I like the Vision quite a lot. And he has not been, he's basically been off the grid for like 9 years now at this point after he died in Avengers Disassembled and did nothing after Bendis brought him back. So I'm glad to see him back, and I'm glad to see him be in a good story that actively, like Christos Gage does, actively chooses to address the issues that his resurrection and all the circumstances that preceded it brought up.
Now, do you think they're bringing back the Vision because rumor has it the Vision's going to be the next Avengers movie?
No, I would be. You know, it's not like I have a lot of faith in Marvel as far as their decisions for their movies go right now. They really just haven't put a foot wrong. But I think they would be going wrong if they introduced the Vision before they do Ultron. I really think they would. So I really just, as much as I love the Vision and would like to see him in cinema, I don't want to see Vision before Ultron. And I'm not saying we need to have Ultron and Vision in the same film or anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But we are getting you Ultron comic next month, right?
Age of Ultron, yes, that is happening. I don't know. I would very much doubt that has anything to do with the Avengers movies because Age of Ultron has been brewing for 3 years now at this point.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So.
Which I'm going to get it and I'm going to read it, but I'm going to doubt very much that it will matter in any capacity. Anything that can be delayed, shuffled, moved aside, or rescheduled that many times can't possibly matter.
How big was this annual?
This annual, I'll do a quick page count here. It was a $5 book, as all annuals are now, frankly. Anytime a book that is, actually, I think annuals are universally $5. But that kind of started whenever they did annuals for the $4 books because they had to just make them dearer because annuals are dearer than regular issues, so they had to make them $5 kind of thing. And let me see here. 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. This is thrilling listening. Is that right? That can't be right. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, not many ads in here. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We're going to get there.
Listen to McFeely count on Fanboy Versus.
Yeah, okay, so it's a 40-page book with the story itself is 28 pages long, which is, of course, it's more than you get in a $4 book. So you pay more, you get more, but and you do get the digital copy as well, of course, as everything that is everything above the $3 price point does give you the digital copy free now. Not that means anything to me. I should start posting those on Twitter like everyone does these days.
I need to start doing that myself. So
a lot of creators are.
And look who's back!
Sorry, I had to run off or do something for a second.
Well, you just missed Avengers and Iron Man.
Oh, well, I've read them. I know what they are.
Yes, I know, but you weren't here to talk about them. So
I enjoyed them. I thought that Iron Man was funny, though. I'm not sure if you talked about that one scene, but geez.
Didn't spoil it, but yeah, we're talking about the same scene. Yeah, it was the one big laugh scene.
Yeah.
And so despite all the good books that were out this week, I'm also going to take a moment to talk about a graphic novel I read this week, which was Mind the Gap, Volume 1 from Image Comics. This one's been on my stack for a couple of months, but I've been meaning to get to it. I've been recommending it in the same sort of breath as Image's recent launches like Saga and Peter Panzerfaust and things like that.
I think you've talked about it a couple of times, because I know I've heard of that before, but I haven't read it.
I have not read it before now, so I mean I've probably mentioned it in along other Image books that get a lot of good press at the minute and everything. But Mind the Gap. So the plot of Mind the Gap is that it's about a girl named Elle Peterson, who is, as the back copy describes, young, wealthy, and beautiful, and there's a reason someone tried to kill her. The book starts with Elle in hospital in a coma, following an attack on her in the subway. And she looks down on the world from the gap between life and death, that's the gap of the title, as her friend and boyfriend and parents and family and friends and acquaintances and the police and the doctors, all their little story threads revolving around her attack as we try to unravel the mystery of who attacked her and why. And she shares the gap with the souls of the dead. Like, the story takes a supernatural, well, a more supernatural twist than I was actually expecting it to quite early on. I won't say what it is because it's a twist, so I won't. But, I mean, it's going to be part of the premise going forward. But I'll not ruin it for you because I didn't know it was coming up whenever I read the book. But it's a lot of well-sculpted characters and it's a mystery book. You know, it's similar to Morning Glories in that it is one of these young, beautiful people mystery books where Morning Glories only serves to raise more questions with every little reveal it gives you. Even in this first 5-issue collection alone, Mind the Gap makes you think one thing about a character, makes you doubt it, makes you think it again, and then just explodes the whole thing off in a totally different way. It's quite well composited. It's like you see a character have a phone call at one point, and then you see someone play back that phone call, and all the sentences are the same, but they're not in the same. They're not. There's more sentences in there, and things aren't quite in the right order. And then you flip back and you think, oh, maybe that was just artistic license. Maybe they just things happened off panel that we didn't hear. And it's and then by the end of the issue, you know, you have your answer as to what was going on in it. It's quite a. I'm not going to say it's fast paced, obviously, because we are. Well, you know, no. To be fair, it does have a surprise reveal, even in the final chapter within this book itself. Like it really feels like the information is being fed out at a nice, steady, sensible rate, in enough of a way to keep you interested. You know, it's Mind the Gap keeps you reading for the sheer preposterousness sometimes of, not Mind the Gap, but Morning Glories. I'm just drawing comparisons with Morning Glories here, because I'm waiting on the next volume of Morning Glories. It just flings more and more. It's kind of like Lost in the way that it flings more and more stuff at you that feels like it's informing the other stuff you've read in the book, but you really just kind of left going, wait, did I actually get any answers there, or did I get more? But Mind the Gap
about
is
Lost.
Where Mind the Gap.
This sounds like my type of comic. I need to go check this out.
I would absolutely recommend this, just like as another one of those things to prove that Image really is where to go if you're looking for something new and different at the minute. But as I say, this is Volume 1. Volume 1's the only volume out now. Volume 2's out in April. First volume, 5 issues. First issue is double-sized, so you're basically getting 6 issues worth of content. $9.99. Dara. So,
wow.
Cool.
Yeah, Image is pricing most of their...
I like the title, Mind the Gap. I think the title, Mind the Gap, is a really good title. It stands out.
Oh, and you know, Sprites just pointed out in the chat something that I meant to say but haven't mentioned, is that the art is gorgeous as well.
Oh, really?
It's written by Jim McCann, who I know as, I believe he was the writer of the Hawkeye and Mockingbird series at Marvel, and I'm sure he's done a couple of other things as well. That's just what I know his name from. And the art is by, hang on, it's a hard to pronounce one. Well, they haven't got his name on the back here. Hang on, I'm going to have to open the bag. The art is by Rodin S. Cahill, who is the cover artist for Morning Glories and who does some gorgeous covers on the book, and who he does the covers for this series as well, but does the interiors too. And it's a really nice book to look at as well. And I knew he did the art, but then when I flipped to the intro page with the credits on it, I was like, plus art by Adrian Alfona on issue 5, and Adrian Alfona, may or may not know, was the co-creator of the Runaways with Brian K. Vaughan, who drew Runaways for, God, I think it'll be about 6 volumes of Runaways' existence. So I was like, oh, damn, well, this has already got better, and I haven't even started reading the comic yet, because I've got Adrian Alfona coming up at the end of this.
Wow, those credits really got me. I'm ready to go now.
Yeah. No, I have to say that I sat down and I read the whole thing in one sitting, in one evening, and I'm really hungry for more now. Unfortunately, I have to wait until April. But I would absolutely recommend that anybody, again, who has been enjoying Saga or Morning Glories or Peter Panzerfaust or Chew or any of these other new things that Image has been putting out in the last little while that are just evidence of the company's expanding creativity and viability and a reason to look at them. Mind the Gap is going to rank very highly for me as one of those books to recommend to other people. I'd strongly recommend anybody check it out. It is very comparable to something like Lost or one of those mystery TV shows, with the important caveat that it's actually really good.
I think, and I might be wrong on this, but they did a while back on Comixology. They had like a bunch of Image #1s be free for the first issue. Mind the Gap might have been one of them. So if people want to try it out, hey, look, Comixology might have it. Saga #1 is free. I know Saga #1 is free on Comixology, and I know a lot of Image #1s are, and I think Mind the Gap might have been one of them too.
Well, like Saga #1, Mind the Gap. I mean, the book is. I know the regular issues of the book are $3 as well.
Yeah.
Unlike Saga #1, the first issue was double-sized, and by double-sized, not double-sized like Avengers Assemble is double-sized with 8 extra pages, like double-sized like 40-something pages in one comic for $3.
Oh, God.
So you're getting that for free. You go and get that, and I defy you to not be at least interested enough to check out a little more for Mind the Gap #1 if that's not available.
I need to check into that, because if I do, I'm getting it. I'll get that issue.
I don't think anybody can object to $9.99 for the 5 issues.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
That's how Image gets you at the minute. It's only been out a couple months, though. It only came out, I don't remember the month it came out, sometime between September and the end of last year. So I'm catching up on my trade stack now. You know, it's only, it's on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only 8 books high now.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
making progress.
No. God, Jesus. 2 of them are omnibuses, so, it's still that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm catching up because I'm doing less internet and more reading good books. Like Mind the Gap. Okay, I think that's me, so we'll go to the top of the show then and round ourselves out with More Than Meets the Eye, number 13. A bit of a breather for everybody this issue. Now, would anyone other than me like to go through this issue? Nicole, do you want to do this issue?
Go for it. No, you can go for it.
I've been talking so much already, I'm already the host. Well, this issue is the, let's call it the lull issue, It is the calm before the storm, and it makes no bones about letting you know that. Following on from the emotionally tempestuous 12th issue that we talked about when it came out, because this is like 2 weeks late, so it feels it's that long ago we did talk about the previous issue of this, but it feels like it was ages ago as well. As essentially the Lost Light crew go on shore leave down on the planet of Hedonia, which I frankly figured was going. I figured it was going to be a little more hedonistic, but all they actually do is sit around and talk about their friendship. I don't want to just go through this issue and just summarize it all because, well, frankly, it's a James Roberts comic, so we could be here for half an hour if I just tried to summarize that. But it's predominantly a comedy issue, and there are some really laugh out loud moments. Like, what were some of you guys' favorite moments from this issue?
Let's talk about the avatars that got chose for some of our favorite characters here.
That is kind of what everyone's talking about, isn't it? It's kind of a joke looking for a punchline. I saw someone describe it as it's like, yeah, they exist and they're just a joke on their own. There's nothing more to them. But I guess the Verity one is really the joke.
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of like it kept escalating because you'd get like, okay, yeah, they all sort of fit, and then you get to Tailgate, and he's like a baby in one of his baby carriers.
Oh, I thought
like,
that was
surely,
so dang cute.
It's like, surely they can't beat that, and then you see Whirl.
Yeah. It's no surprise that the funniest ones that they needed to keep secret are the ones that weren't on the cover.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to make of Whirls. I like the eye.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, like Whirl is messed up. So I imagine that I don't know. The eye patch is even on the Autobot symbol. That's excellent.
Yeah, I was like, why does he have an eye? Oh, it took half a second for me to get the joke.
I love this. Is at least mine comes with these, and he's holding Uzis.
My favorite avatar still is Rungs. I love Rungs.
A lot of people made bones about the fact that the avatars for Rung and Skids are completely different to the ones on the cover of them. But
I didn't get that cover. I got the Cyclone.
The Cyclonus cover is good too. But no, I mean the guy on the cover for Rung, he's this really awesome, cool-looking, vaguely steampunkish Victorian gentleman, and that looks cool. But Rung's not cool, Now,
what did you do? Okay, I've been seeing a lot of this, but what about Skids? A lot of people are saying it's a Doctor Who throwback.
Oh, he's definitely Doctor Who. He's massive.
Okay. Okay, I was just wondering if you guys felt the same way or not.
The bow tie is no question. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that the whole blank name, the ID thing is supposed to be a psychic paper joke as well from Doctor Who. So I think that's supposed to be.
I know you're in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I just caught that, that he's looking at something, and I didn't know if it's supposed to be psychic paper or if it's supposed to be Rivers, spoilers book. Spoilers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, the idea that his ID is blank it's a joke. It's a joke on the surface of the comic because Skids has amnesia, doesn't remember much about himself, so like that makes sense. But I think it's supposed to be a double reference psychic paper joke as well. But then compare that to the cover where he's Daniel Craig's James Bond,
Yeah.
Which is odd.
That doesn't fit. That's just weird.
I don't know. I don't know that Doctor Who fits Skids any more than James Bond. Bond seems like a slightly better fit. I don't know because he's the action hero who dives into anything, And Matt Smith's Doctor Who is not the kind of Doctor Who that repels through, ventilation ducts or anything. It's something I'd see James Bond doing a little more. But it's like with Rungs on the other hand, like he's a really dapper, cool, suave-looking dude, and that's not Rung. Rung is supposed to be a really unremarkable guy who you don't notice, and this tweed-wearing, bespectacled, flat-cap guy in the comic is so much more like Rung accurate as far as I'm concerned. Like it's yeah.
Yeah, like you take the name panels away from him, and you look at him, and you see him, and that's Run.
Yeah, I don't think that would
know when you see it
from the guy on the cover, especially if you took the specs off him on the cover.
Yeah.
What else? What else happened in this one?
Cyclonus' throat singing was awesome.
Oh, throat singing. I like
so people have been saying Cyclonus is basically Worf.
God, yeah, that's not. I never really thought about it, but yeah.
So Cyclonus is Klingon.
People don't. The rest of he's like Worf on like Next Generation. Everybody kind of doesn't understand him, and they kind of keep their distance because they know that he can kill them. And it's I mean, he fits. Like if this was a Star Trek comic, I'd definitely say he was Worf.
I never would have thought of that because I don't think the Star Trek much, but that's not bad. Yeah. What else?
Let's
Ultra
see.
Magnus, of course, is Ultra Magnus and Swerve are like our centerpiece characters for these guys.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Hello.
it's all about Swerve sending the message.
Yes,
You know, they're sending a message back to Cybertron is what they think they're doing, and he's just kind of detailing, oh, this is what happened on Shore Leave. So, it is. It's basically Swerve's issue. You know, it's basically him telling the story.
Yeah, it's like his spotlight a little bit because at the very end. Now, did you feel sorry for Swerve?
Oh, Swerve!
That's the problem.
I sort of felt sorry for Swerve, but it's like I need more on this. You know, I need to know: has Swerve just been lying, or has Swerve been lying to himself? You know,
I think he's been lying to himself.
I think he might have been. Yeah.
Swerve is like, I love Swerve. I love this little bot to death, and I just feel so sorry for him because he kind of mentions he's like, I don't have any friends. People like me, but I have no friends. No one wants to be his roommate.
He's really kidding himself, though. Like I think lots of characters do genuinely like Swerve. Tailgate, at least, genuinely likes Swerve. I think those two are great.
I love those two.
And talking about Tailgate, I mean, at the end of this issue, I mean, Tailgate, he's not, he's not having the best.
No.
Life, it sounds like.
I think a lot of people had picked up on the signposts for this one, this revelation about Tailgate over the particularly last issue. I didn't read last issue that way, but at first read, but the more I thought about it, where he calls on Rewind to spell out everything he should do for him, but phrases it as if it's a test for Rewind to answer the question correctly, and it seems. It's like all that stuff they've ever talked about him. It never quite seemed right, but then it's not just, it's not just self-aggrandizing or anything. There's this horrible element where it's like he was missed for 6 million years and nobody ever looked for him or cared. It's oh Tailgate, look at your big quivering eyes.
I mean, it's starting to feel like all these characters are together for a reason because, man, they are all sad in their own way. I mean, there's like, is there even a character on the Lost Light that is not just sort of miserable? I mean, whether it's
so you're saying the Lost. So you're saying the Lost Light's more like a therapy group.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't planned or anything, but if destiny is a thing and fate is a thing, maybe these people were fated to be together because they're all of them have something horrible going on.
Yeah,
I mean, they
it's
just.
A therapy group where nobody is getting any therapy.
No.
It's just a ship full of lonely bastards who won't tell anybody the truth about themselves, and so they all remain horribly there's a Transformers story. I forget the name of the story. It's in one of the UK annuals, and it's about a little boy named Danny whose dad is either who either left the family or is dead. It's just him and his mum. And his mum, he meets the Transformers in an earlier annual text story, and then he comes back in this one. I can't remember the name of the story, but it's so miserable as a story because his mum doesn't understand his fascination with the Transformers. He looks upon the Transformers as if they're better than people. They don't have all the hang-ups and relationships and everything that make people sad. But then that's cast alongside a story where Jetfire is appointed by Optimus Prime to watch over the aerial bots who have only just been created, and Silverbolt keeps his fear of flying a secret from the other aerial bots, and Jetfire can't see it, and Silverbolt suffers in silence, and Danny sees that fear in Silverbolt and realizes Transformers aren't better than him, but he can't explain that. He can't explain that to his mother. So at the end of the story, everybody is even worse off than they were at the start of the story, and they're still suffering in silence because they can't share their worries and fears with everyone around them. And that's what's going on in More Than Meets the Eye, basically, at this point. Everyone is at their lowest ebb, keeping everything bottled up, despite the fact there's a psychiatrist on the ship ready and willing to listen. And then Overlord's going to come and kill them all next issue.
Yeah.
One thing I've never thought I would see in a comic book was humans giving CPR to a robot.
That's not CPR.
I guess you could call it CPR.
Oh, when
was
they're
quite
trying to force him to transform? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about? Jumping on
This
him?
quest just made the top 3.
Yeah.
Do you
What do you
think
say,
this
it's
sort
like
of thing
higher-
happens?
You say higher than the thumb quest? Is that
No,
what
the
he said?
thumb quest bad is how he describes it when he thinks he's killed Magnus. And yet, you look at the top 10 list on the first page, and Thumb Quest is still number 9. No, sorry, it's number 5 actually. Like, how bad were numbers 6 through 10?
Oh,
The
God.
Thumb Quest is the comparison for bad. I tell you what, I did just about lose it when they got Ultra Magnus to transform, and he transformed upside down. That was that one last kicker of a laugh at the end of the issue before everything turned to misery.
Yeah.
Poor Theoden.
I loved it. I loved it. Ultra Magnus getting drunk. Oh, God.
Okay, maybe no. I'm not the kind of guy who. Okay, so he's got a fuel intake moderation chip. All right. Now that's an FIM chip. Okay, and this whole issue is about Swerve trying to teach him to loosen up and not be so officious and to be friendly with those around him.
Yeah.
Now, is it? I don't know if Roberts watches it. Is it a pony reference? I'm trying to figure this out. Is it a pony reference? FIM, Friendship is Magic. The issue is about friendship. Is it a pony reference? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I didn't even catch that.
I didn't
I
put
didn't
it
even
on
think
the,
about
I
that.
wrote the issue up on the
I think I
wiki.
did catch it the first time I read it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody else say it, and I don't want to be the guy that puts it up on the wiki. And I don't want to ask Roberts on Twitter either. I'm like, is it a pony reference? I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that would be like the ultimate crossover for me. I get my robots and my ponies somehow.
So, like, the pony comic needs to, like, stand up, and they need to make a Transformers reference. Have they done that yet?
No,
Like-
and the second issue of My Little Pony, they did have a Transformers reference. They had a cave troll who had an Optimus Prime toy.
Oh well, there you
Okay,
go
he
then.
played
Maybe
with.
this was
Yeah.
just more than meets the eye, returning the favor. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
so-
I might just be. I don't know what I would have to be to see that when I'm not a fan of ponies, and for that to be what I think. But I don't know. Well,
I like to think so. I like to think so.
I'm getting a panic on. And I suppose we probably can't. Well, I'll tell you what, we should probably mention the art on this issue as well, because this was not Alex Milne.
Oh,
This
yes.
issue. This was Guido Guidi. I did not used to be a big fan of Alex Milne's at all, I have to say. As I think most people who have heard me talk about Transformers comic know. But he has improved and evolved and changed just so dramatically from the start of 2012. Not, was it 12? No, actually the start of 2011 going forward. That his artwork has just become so completely tied to the visual identity of More Than Meets the Eye that even when Nick Roach comes in and draws it, it still feels slightly off to me because it's gotta be Milne. I mean, he does kill it on every single issue of More Than Meets the Eye now. And I love Guido. Guido is like my favorite Transformers artist. He's in my top 3, you know. So I don't know what's wrong with the world when I get a full issue by Guido. I don't know when we last got a full issue of anything by Guido. I can't remember. And I'm like, oh, this is great and all, but I wish Alex Milne was drawing this. Well, I'm in the Bizarro verse. I am in Shattered Glass. I don't know what's happened. I mean, it's probably, to be fair, that this does have 4 separate inkers on it, and it does show. There are some rather rough pages. The pages with the human avatars are definitely rougher compared to some of the other pages in the issue, whereas the page with Tailgate's Confession is definitely the best looking page in the issue. I mean, it doesn't single out which inkers inked which pages, but it definitely shows, you know, so it's a bit of an uneven book artistically. I'm always happy to see Guido on anything, but I think it just amazes me that, in a way, that I don't think has ever really happened on a Transformer comic before, an artist's work has become so completely tied to the book.
Yeah, I mean, this is, if there is ever to be a book, it's definitely this book. I mean, because as soon as I open like the page, like I always get like the covers are always different because you get those variant covers. But as soon as I open the page, it's like, hey, wait, what's off?
Well, what's wrong?
I mean, not off like in a
different.
Yeah, not like a bad thing. Like the book's not bad looking. Art's fine. Art's fine. It's just that hey, something's off. Oh, it's a different artist, and you can tell because, like you said, it fits in so well with the book. It's the writing and the art, they go together. It's symbiosis.
Guido has not. He has tweaked his style a little for this issue to mimic some of what Milne has done. And I mean, I don't know exactly how much of what Milne chose to do with the book was inspired by the fact that Roche began the series doing the Death of Optimus Prime on the first issue of More Than Meets the Eye. I don't know if he took his cues from that, or if the cartoonish style was his choice to go in that direction. If you look at last issue, though, you remember that was split between the befores and afters, where Brendan Cahill actively emulated Milne's style in the sections he was drawing, and you could tell the difference, but it still flowed together. It wasn't jarring or anything. But there's only a few nips and tucks here to Guido's normal style. Tailgate, I think, being the prime example, with his giant big head and his crying somehow, and his hugely expressive eyes, and Whirl is probably the other big example with his eye changing shape and everything to reflect his. I mean, I'm always happy to see Guido get work, but I do find myself feeling like I'm in the Bizarro-verse whenever I'm like, yeah, it's nice to have Guido, but I wish it was Milne.
Yeah.
And
man, there was like a line in here. There was a line in here, and I'm trying to find it that. Oh, here it is. That just made me laugh so much when I read it. Have you ever met Whirl? He's the only Autobot I know who introduces himself by saying he has no known weaknesses. And I just don't know why, but I read that and I laughed and laughed for like a couple of minutes before I moved on with the book. And it's just, it's just more than meets the eye, just giving us just out there stuff that's like, yeah, that is so that character. That is, I mean, the characters in the book are just so lifelike. They jump out of the page at me. I love this book.
I love this similar thing with Rodimus and Drift, just this one panel. Cyclonus was singing in front of Tailgate. Those two have a very odd relationship, and then the Drift was just reaching around Rodimus. I think that's got to be a little Bowden toss to the Tumblr fandom there. Ultra Magnus is, I don't know, I don't know how much it is that Magnus is turning into a sitcom character, or how much of it is supposed to be that his condition is actually worsening due to the pressures of the lost light. You know how sitcom characters go, they start out one way, and then that one defining characteristic gets played up and played up and played up over time until they're just a caricature. But Magnus is almost veering towards that, when he barges in here with his list of things. Skids keeps using the maintenance droids for target practice. And all this Sprocket keeps touching his magnet!
Yeah. I mean, I like Magnus. I like that he's not just. I mean, there's depth to the character. Just like I was saying before, it seems like they're all kind of the losers, and they're there for a reason. His thing that makes him the loser is that he can't loosen up. He can't be with his common robot. He's sort of so high strung.
I only have.
I like how he can't even say the word relax.
He just said reflex. He's like, what was that word? Reflex.
It's not a word. I'd have heard of it.
I would have heard of it.
I only have two expressions, and the second is just an angrier version of the first.
Yeah.
Magnus. But he's actually just a miserable, lonely person who doesn't want to be on the quest and can't relate to anybody and can't tell anybody about what he feels either. Oh, it's a ship full of basket case. Also, we got a little extra bonus this issue as well, which was the prose story. Now, did you guys read this?
I didn't have time to read it. I actually had just read this before we jumped on the podcast.
No, I didn't read this.
Shame. But, well, I won't go into any deep spoilers on it, but it's a rung-centric story with a framing sequence that takes place after the events of this issue, containing an extended flashback that's about as long as the framing sequence, which shows what happens when everyone abandons Swerve when Ultra Magnus starts to wake up during the comic. And it's basically about how when they're poking around in the gift shop, Rung sees a rack of memory sticks and is reminded of Red Alert. And he makes an appointment then with Rodimus to see him and tell him about him and set the stage for you-know-who's return next issue.
Cool.
But that's the long and the short of it. But it's just another it's another series of little character interactions. You know, it's like they're worried that they're in trouble with Ultra Magnus, and Rewind says that well, if they're in trouble already, then they might as well get into some real trouble and go looking for the dark secret of Hedonia. And Rewind says, "I'm just guessing, but." And you're saying the more outwardly peaceable and well-adjusted a society, the greater the likelihood of it having a sinister underbelly. Yeah. Even Lovetopia off Rigel 7. Please, the Lovetopian elite were selling the lower classes to the macerators. The magic ingredient in every pint of yum-yum juice was an impoverished family of 6.
Oh, God.
Yum-yum juice.
Yeah, and there's some more stuff with Magnus as well, where we kind of get the explanation for why he doesn't know and can't say certain words, because he is actually, Rung remarks on how succinct Ultra Magnus's use of language is, and how he just uses it for a delivery system for information. And Rung describes his method of speech as a vehicle for conveying information, and Ultra Magnus doesn't understand vehicle. It's a simile, Rung says, and Ultra Magnus says, I've spent years weaning myself off of figurative language. It clouds the facts. I occasionally resort to a simile if the situation absolutely demands it, but I remain intensely distrustful of extended metaphors. I guess that's why Ultra Magnus can't say certain words, because he deleted them from his system. But it's great to have a little bonus feature in there like that. I'm a little sour grapey in that I kind of just wanted it to be a pros exclusive bonus, you know, to get people out there buying the physical copies, supporting the local comic shops, not something they could get just by clicking on a digital button. But it turns out they just made a mistake when they left it off the digital version and they added it back in. I'm selfish like that.
Oh, I didn't know they left it off the digital version.
They added it back in. It was a mistake. They added it back. It was added within 12 hours.
You know, like when I was looking through the issue, and I didn't even like kind of look at it because I didn't have time. But like when I first saw it, I thought, wow, some dude wrote a really long letter for this issue. He must really like. You must really like more than meets the eye.
Well, who doesn't? I could write a letter like that saying how great all the artists are on it and writers and yeah.
This is like 4 pages? What?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. This guy really likes it.
You say 4 pages.
I mean, but how can you not like this series? How can you not like this series? It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably going to do it. We've gone on long enough about that one, I think. I was going to say it's a typically good issue of More Than Meets the Eye, but I think it's probably not quite up to the series' high standard, you know, slightly uneven art and some somewhat sitcomish depictions of its characters, but still, really, I think if you didn't chuckle at all, you're probably dead inside, you know?
Yeah, I think it's like the slow period, because you know who's returning next issue, as it says at the end of the issue, and that's when maybe this could be the case where we get to laugh with some of those characters for the last time. We really don't know. We don't know.
See, this is what scares me.
I can't imagine
this is what scares me.
Get out of this alive. Someone's got to die.
Yeah.
No, this
frankly,
is my prediction. This is my prediction. Because this is very Swerve and Tailgate centric, one of the two, they're not going to make it. And it's going to break my heart.
Yeah, it's this issue. This does kind of, it's one thing that some people have commented on More Than Minutes, and it is true. Everybody in the damn book has a secret. There's no one normal bloke. Everybody's carrying something dark and horrible around that they won't share with someone else. And with this issue, we kind of, the two guys who didn't seem to be Tailgate and Swerve, those thoughts have kind of been not put to bed, but there's no more mystery to be revealed around them. Any and all questions surrounding their states of minds have been answered. So a heroic sacrifice by either one of these guys, like on Swerve's part to prove himself a true friend, or on someone else's part to prove that they truly are a friend to Swerve, or to Tailgate to do something huge that he would really be remembered for, or Rung to do something huge that he would really be remembered for, or Whirl with his death wish to it's like everybody, it's lined up in a freaking shooting gallery. Everybody is lined up to potentially die at this stage.
Anybody could.
Like,
I'm betting on Tailgate though. Just the way that character has been positioned, I'm kind of thinking Tailgate.
I do not think there is one character death at this point that I would be surprised if it was them, you know? There's loads of them I would be upset or sad about, but I think Skids. I would be surprised if Skids died, because we don't have the answer to his.
Yeah, Skids. I don't think Skids died yet. But, like, I think it's Tailgate, but you know what? It could be like I'm being led to think Tailgate, and then it's Cyclonus.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I would probably also be
That'd
surprised.
be a shitter. Wouldn't that be a shitter if you think it's going to be Tailgate, but then it's Cyclonus? Wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be worse again. Yeah.
I just have this deep sinking pit in my stomach thinking it's Swerve because I love Swerve so much, and Mr. Roberts is known to kill off my favorite people.
We know it's not Drift. That much we know. That's as far as it gets. I would also be surprised if it was Rung, because we've just had a fake out death for Rung, and I don't think they'd go there.
I don't think Rung. I think Rung is safe because he pretty much already
There's
died.
some more mysteries around Rung as well. It's like Rung is more than he seems to be. Whether or not he knows
he's more than meets the eye.
The Transformers book isn't actually about Transformers. They are all more than meets the eye. Oh, God.
Yes, it truly, I mean, really.
Unless it's
the
Whirl.
I don't think I ever really thought about that before, but yeah.
I never till now, yeah.
Yeah, really, the entire cast of this book does have something they're holding back. There is more than meets the eye to them. Aha! I wonder if that was deliberate or if it was just luck of the draw.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that's more than meets the eye. Anyway, that's another good one. But we're basically all living. I mean, it's very. Hang on, where's that one line? It's very on the nose at the very end here, where they're driving Ultra Magnus home, and they say, "Savor the feeling. You never know what's around the corner." Bam, 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 just smashing it into your face with it. Like, no. Oh, Alex Milne is in the chat, and he's telling us that he knows who dies.
Oh, God!
Shut up, Alex! Well, okay.
I can't see the chat. My chat disappeared, so I can't see the chat.
Well, I think we might be running a little long, so I guess we'll call an end to it with that. I don't think it's up on the YouTube yet or on the website yet, but make sure and check out TF Radio's live coverage of all the Toy Fair news from the weekend. There's a couple of small videos with new pictures up right now for your quick hits of news, but for the live stream coverage of all the news that was fit, I'm sure that will be going up soon. Thank you for tuning in live to listen if you did. Not sure what's coming up next week at all. I don't think there's anything too major next week. What about you guys? You guys, anything you're up to? Anything you want to pimp out at the minute? Where can the good people of the internet find you? Give us your Twitters, your Facebooks.
Okay, well, I'll go. Just follow, follow me on Twitter at Beatles Diva. Beatles like the band, not the bug. And you can find out all the things I've been up to. So I'm hoping to get back into some more podcasting here soon, now that my work schedule's somewhat more stable.
We'll be glad to have you.
Awesome. And I'm just on Twitter. I don't do anything else. It's at Man of the Town. Yep, that's me.
It cannot be mentioned without.
I know, that is like the best.
It's easy to remember. That's why I like it. It's easy to remember.
Those are the best Twitters. Mine is my name. It's easy to remember too, but it doesn't make it good.
Everyone wants to be Chris McFeely, though.
No,
Yes.
no. I don't want to be Chris McFeely.
Oh, God!
Nobody wants any of this. So you can find me at Chris McFeely. I am always around the internet as well, contributing to the TF Wiki, the Allspark 2005 boards. I'm always just my name, so I'm easily found. I think that's everything. So, thanks to the co-hosts. Didn't mess this up too bad hosting. It happens every once in a while, but we seem to make it through okay. JD will be back next week, and hopefully you all will as well, when it will be Fanboy Versus.
You've been watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely. Download our Android apps. Visit tfradio.net/Android or search Google Play for Radio Free Cybertron.